Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is Stephen McCarthy from the McCarthy Project. Just touching base today. I want to wish everybody again a Merry Christmas. It is unbelievable, the weather in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So much for the global warming aspect of life, because it is now blizzarding out for about the third day in 4. And people are moving around very slowly, and it does feel like Christmas once more. So just wanted to wish everybody a happy, good, belated, early Merry Christmas. So with that, today is our Nutrition Day, and so we're going to be talking just in general. I think we're going to the whole schedule that we had originally planned, as sometimes life does take a couple turns. We had planned on having Jessica Sarah on the phone with our weekly, seasonal recipe. And then I also planned on having Ryan St. George, who always does a great job talking about the Dirty Dozen and then the Clean Dozen. That was our original intention, but it turns out that there may be a potential that both of those may cancel. So you got to love it. Life sometimes this doesn't work out the way you had planned. So with that being said, we are going to just talk in general. You know, I think we've talked a lot about the different nutritional aspects over the last couple of weeks. And I think I want to kind of touch on, you know, what does it mean in today's age, how, or, gosh, it seems so expensive, or, because, I mean, you're talking about things that, I mean, you know, a bag of chips costs $3.50, you know, $4 nowadays. How do we expect to actually eat organic eggs for a dozen for $6 a piece, or $6 per dozen? And I think that there's some wisdom related to that. And so we're going to be talking about that aspect. And then as we move through the day, Chris Swarthout, you know, hopefully he is not being affected by the weather. So at this point, we're just going to go to a quick commercial break. We'll kind of come back, see how everything's sitting, and from there we move on. So welcome to the McCarthy Project. Here's a quick break, and we'll be back with you on the other side. 5-Star Basketball, the leader in basketball instruction and camps, endorsed by Michael Jordan, Dick Vitale, and Hubie Brown, and where the teaching never stops. 5-Star Basketball Minnesota will be hosting a one-day instructional camp on May 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will be hosted by 5-Star, the McCarthy Project, and Grassroots Hoops. For more information on the camp, visit themccarthyproject.com/5-star. XL Athlete is the leading provider of online strength and conditioning and speed development camps. For more information on their training programs and speed development camps, visit xlathlete.com. We are excited to offer the following products on themccarthystore.com. Innovate Running Shoes, the leader in barefoot and natural running technology. We carry the full line of sizes and colors. Berkey Water Filters, the leader in anti-gravity water filtration. For more information, visit themccarthyproject.com or go directly to the McCarthy Project store website. That's www.themccarthyprojectstore.com. Well, we are back, and we are going to be talking nutrition today, from a standpoint of a cost perspective and how to go about it without it costing a lot of money, or, how can you manipulate the system a little bit, or what can you do? So we're going to be talking from a standpoint, like I mentioned, of cost, and how do we go about it when you have a family of 5, like we do, when you don't want your budget to triple just by getting less food. It really is quite a project, and I'll just kind of give you a little bit of history on how we've done it and kind of where we sit in the process. I bet you probably about 2 years ago, I started down this path of trying to understand what does it mean to eat grass-fed beef or organic, or natural foods, or what currently the kind of the cool trend is as far as what you want to call it. And I originally started listening to a guy named Rob Wolf, who had a weekly podcast. At the time, he had almost 100 episodes under his belt, so I was very, very impressed. And I started to listen to him. I went back to number 1 and started right up the episode chain. So, and he started talking about all this stuff about anti-inflammation and grass-fed beef and a paleo diet and all these other different pieces to the puzzle. And I think what ended up happening for me is I started to look into it a little bit, started to really enjoy the process, started to get a little bit frustrated. But what I realized was that if you take the time to put together what you want to eat and then look around and do your best, I think it works out tremendously in a great way. And it took us a while. It took us probably about 6 to 8 months to finally start to see the benefit. I shouldn't say the benefit, or start to see how we could go about it. And through that 6 to 8 months, I've come to the realization that you can actually do it, and it is not as difficult as you think. You may not be able to eat everything like you were before, but you can do it. And so with that being said, we're going to go to a quick break, and we're going to come back with Jessica Serra and the recipe of the day and how that might fit into what I was just talking about. So we'll be back with Jessica on the other side of a break. Five Star Basketball, the leader in basketball instruction and camps, endorsed by Michael Jordan, Dick Vitale, and Hubie Brown, and where the teaching never stops. 5 Star Basketball Minnesota will be hosting a one-day instructional camp on May 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will be hosted by 5 Star, the McCarthy Project, and Grassroots Hoops. For more information on the camp, visit themccarthyproject.com/5-star. XL Athlete is the leading provider of online strength and conditioning and speed development camps. For more information on their training programs and speed development camps, visit xlathlete.com. And good afternoon. This is Stephen McCarthy from the McCarthy Project, joining you live from the fitness mega headquarters in the middle of a blizzard in Minnesota, which is amazing. You do have to turn on the fire one more time. You have to get your cup of coffee out one more time. Sit back and relax one more time. Hopefully this will be the last for a couple months, and then Christmas will come back and we'll be all happy again. So sorry for a little bit of negative sarcasm, I suppose. That probably wasn't the most enjoyable thing to start with. But nonetheless, that is what we're sitting at. And we've been talking for the last couple of minutes about how to eat on a budget. And so, Jessica, before you go into kind of the rest of the day, could you talk to us a little bit about how you view, does it always have to cost 3 times as much to eat healthy?
Well, Stephen, I don't think so. I think if you have a bit of a plan and put some time into it, like you were talking about, it takes time and it takes a little bit of adjusting, then you start to notice when fruits and vegetables are in season, and it's a lot less expensive to buy things that are in season, and you can also kind of crisscross ingredients with recipes, so there's less waste, less veggies kind of sitting in the fruit and veggie drawer being ignored. And I think that in those sort of ways, it makes it easy to make eating healthy affordable, and not to mention the fact that a lot of whole grains are very inexpensive. Brown rice, whole wheat pasta, those things, they're not very expensive. They're very nutrient dense. And you can look for sales on organic chicken when certain fish are on sale. And if you just pay attention to certain things like that, it can really help with your budget.
You know, and I'm going to ask one other angle before we kind of get into your thoughts for the day, as far as a cool dinner or entree or something. But do you feel that you always need to go to, like, I know that, like, the range-fed organic eggs that are like $6.50, $7 a dozen, you know what I mean? I mean, when you get to that position where it's really like, I mean, you're going to get 12 eggs and they're all $1 a piece, you know what I mean? That type of thing.
Yeah.
Do you feel that
I think
in some cases you can make a modification or two and it's okay?
I think so. I'm sort of a realist in these situations, and I'll admit that I don't always even buy organic chicken for myself. Sometimes it's just not reasonable with the amount of food that we eat in my house as athletes, and I think because we're so active, our bodies process it and use the proteins, and it's okay. In California, all chickens, poultry have to be raised cage-free now anyways, so you'll see a lot of marketing like, this is cage-free. Well, that's pretty much the case of all of our eggs and all of our chicken now. So I really think, like I was mentioning on the last show, if you're going to sacrifice eating something like eggs or chicken because you can't afford organic or the $12 a dozen eggs, then I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, because then you're probably sacrificing on nutrition in general.
Exactly. Cool. All right. So with that being said, I know last week we talked probably more about philosophy as a whole. And so today we're going to actually talk, because I'm going to tell you some good news, that we send out a weekly email with, like the weekly shows, like the little, like, segmented shows, hey, check out this, check out this, check out this. Guess who was either number 1 or number 2 as far as the clicked on link on our email?
Recipe.
Strawberry rice pilaf was the number.
Oh, great.
Did I say that right? Was that what it was?
Strawberry quinoa.
Oh, sure. So,
I know, that's a new one for you, but...
I know. It was, all I knew it was green. That's all that was boiled down to. But nonetheless, so I have to admit, I mean, there are people out there looking for this information. So I'm really excited to have. What do you have in store for us today?
Great. So speaking of finding things in season, and I hit on this last week a little bit, seasonal produce. What's in the farmer's market right now? For example, I used asparagus and strawberries in that last recipe, and those are two things that can be very, very expensive over the winter months. You go to buy asparagus, and it's $4.99 a pound. Well, right now, it's really, really inexpensive. So now's the time to find those recipes, to utilize that ingredient, and the best part is that even though it's less expensive, it's actually way better quality than when it's not in season and it's super expensive. So it's right. And the recipes that I want to share are actually 3 salad recipes that are up on the Triathlete Magazine website. And you're going to put the link up later. It's linked up to my Facebook also. And these recipes, they're also in the April edition of Triathlete magazine. So if you get that magazine, or if you want a hard copy of it, but the recipes use ingredients that you'll find in the farmer's market right now. One is a strawberry, kiwi, and mint chop with roasted shrimp. The second one is a heirloom radish, beet, toasted pecan, and goat cheese salad. And the last one is a grilled asparagus and poached egg salad with a roasted garlic dressing. So they all sound a little bit fancy, but there's pictures up, and they're really, really easy to make. And I teach you in the recipes how to make your own batch of salad dressing, which is kind of fun to learn and adds a lot of flavor to the recipes.
That's amazing, because, as we move through this process, as a good old-fashioned Midwesterner that was born and raised on some sort of Chinese hot dish, or jambalaya or something like that, where it pretty much looks like you just throw everything together. Are these recipes really that easy?
I've had so much good feedback from people saying that the way that you write your recipes has changed the way that I cook. It's really that easy. And I try to write them in a way as if a friend would call me up, someone that doesn't cook a lot, that really has to follow by the book and measure. And I think I write the recipes in a way, how would I explain to that person? What questions would they ask me? I put little notes in the recipes. I try to describe things. And there's not a ton of ingredients, so it's not going to be one of those recipes that costs you $100 and takes 3 hours to make. They're just simple. They're practical. So I really think that anyone can make the recipes.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, anything else that you'd like to add? Because I think we want to kind of we talked about keeping it down under a couple of minutes so that we could just kind of come in, hit the subject, and move on. Anything else that you'd like to add to the...
Check out those recipes. And then the recipe of the week is also up on triathlete.com, and it's a pan-seared halibut over red curry broth with Japanese noodles and veggies. So it's a restaurant quality dish that looks really fancy again, but super easy to make. You won't believe how easy it is to make this. So it's a little shortcut. And
that's one thing. We might end up being actually kind of halfway competent in the actual kitchen as far as cooking. We won't have to have like French toast and eggs for supper every night.
Even though French toast is my favorite, yeah, probably not the best choice every night.
Exactly. Alrighty. Everybody, if they would like to get a hold of...
thanks, Stephen.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Again, if you, we're going to have the link up there for all these recipes from Jessica. I can't even exhort you more. I have seen this type of thing happen. Like I mentioned earlier, is so much of our diet nowadays is simply just going after it, and we kind of just pick whatever happens, and it's just really. And what I mean by picking up whatever happens is that you walk in the door, your family hasn't gone grocery shopping for 3 or 4 days. The pantry's a little low, the refrigerator's a little low. All the easy stuff is gone. What are you going to do? And I found that if I took that extra 10 or 15 minutes, like Jess is talking about, and put together a high quality, high nutrient dense meal, that it doesn't have to be that difficult. It could even be as simple as, like I was for a while there, I was putting a lot of green peppers and mushrooms, sautéing them in some olive oil. Then I would take the vegetables out. I would then cook my hamburger, in a frying pan, if you will, and then I would have my vegetables with a burger. And I cut out the wheat. I was going down that paleo diet type of a scenario. And so it really was a fantastic way. My mouth started to really start to enjoy, I don't know, my mouth or my brain, whatever it was, but it was like I was starting to taste, and my mouth was starting to water when I was eating a strawberry. And it really is something to this. And I think even Ryan St. George, who a couple weeks ago talked about the Dorito chip and how it actually turns on sensors to make you want to keep eating it. And these foods are not like that, and you essentially have to come off of those chemicals. And it really is quite an amazing experience because I didn't expect it. And I even asked, Ryan, what happens when this stuff doesn't taste good? Because he's got the EnerFood drink that his company makes, and I've been trying it out. And I drank it a couple times with just water, and it was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? I have no idea. And it really was amazing to me because I finally said, okay, I'm going to do the recipe on the side. And basically the recipe on the side was put a banana, put some frozen fruit, put in your EnerFood, put in some juice and some water, and mix it up, and you have a green smoothie. And it really did. I mean, it's not like a ice cream shake or something like this, or it's not, tastes, that sweet, if you will, but it is very, very nutritious. It's sweet. It goes down easy. It doesn't taste like you're drinking a bowl of lettuce, you know what I mean, if you will, or something that is really green. So from that standpoint, I can really see how if you take the time to at least cook something, not just come in and slap together what you know or fall into the same habits of what you know, that you can take the time, you can build your, your stable of recipes, the things that you can make quickly. And that's the reason why I'm so excited to have Jess Sarah on the phone or to come on. Is she's got some great, cool stuff that is easy to make, that it is not going to cost you, $45 for just the eggs or $45 for just the meat or the protein piece. And so from that standpoint, amazing, amazing, amazing good stuff. So just to kind of summarize, first of all, cost. We've talked a little bit about it. You just got to shop in season and have a little bit of realism to it all. If you ultimately, like we don't buy cage-free organic eggs. I just don't see how we can, as a family, eating so many, that we're going to be able to pay $7 a dozen. I mean, we would go through, in one meal, we would go through 8 or 9 of them, just something like that. So we did the same thing. We have a little bit of realism and try to get there as much as you can. So with that, we're going to go to a quick break, and we will have Jess Sarah's information up on the internet after the show. And with that, we're going off to a break, and we'll be back on the other side to talk a little bit more nutrition. 5-Star Basketball, the leader in basketball instruction and camps. Endorsed by Michael Jordan, Dick Vitale, and Hubie Brown, and where the teaching never stops. 5-Star Basketball Minnesota will be hosting a one-day instructional camp on May 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will be hosted by 5-Star, the McCarthy Project, and Grassroots Hoops. For more information on the camp, visit themccarthyproject.com/5-star. XL Athlete is the leading provider of online strength and conditioning and speed development camps. For more information on their training programs and speed development camps, visit xlathlete.com. We are excited to offer the following products on the McCarthyStore.com. Innovate Running Shoes, the leader in barefoot and natural running technology. We carry the full line of sizes and colors. Berkey Water Filters, the leader in anti-gravity water filtration. For more information, visit themccarthyproject.com or go directly to the McCarthy Project Store website. That's www.themccarthyprojectstore.com. Well, everybody, this is Stephen McCarthy from the McCarthy Project, coming to you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So, just to kind of do some little housekeeping pieces, we are now up on Ustream. If you type in the McCarthy Project, you can actually see us live. We are testing out this technology in the effort to kind of feel for it. We are hopefully going to be bringing our guests on live so that we will actually have video to go with our broadcast. So if you would like to watch us talk, and I've actually kind of funny because I've been watching a certain podcast called Infowars.com, and the beautiful thing about it is they're not every day, but I like to sometimes watch him when he's talking, and so we're going to be attempting to bring the video portion to our talk show as on top of the audio. So from that standpoint, check us out on Ustream as well as on Facebook. The McCarthy Project is up there as well. And then let's see, where else? Got our website, themccarthyproject.com. So from that standpoint, where do we go from here? So we've talked about cost a little bit. The next trick is, how do you actually get your children to buy in as well? And I think this is a big, I kind of assumed that I would have a very, very difficult process with this one, because the ideas of eating organic are so foreign. And I'll give you a couple of experiences that took place with our family. Is that my daughter would go up to bring her chips and her food to lunch, and people would say it doesn't taste the same, and therefore it doesn't taste good. And it's kind of funny because I never did not think that she would need to be on the lookout for being bullied based on what chips she had, but it really did happen. And so one of the things that you have to kind of realize going in is that you will not be able to more than likely do all the brands everybody else is doing. And it's I think I found the best approach to be if I sat my family down and allowed a slow change. I've tried to be the forceful one that says we're just switching over, and that did not go well. But as I slowly backed off of that one and then moved over to Trader Joe's, which they post that all the Trader Joe brand does not have GMOs, or if it is completely organic, it's posted as well. So there's never 100%, spot on. Everything is for sure, because there are so many things that change. I've read some things about, organic food from China. We talked a little bit about that with Brian last week, and that you really need to control your sources. And if you don't control your sources, things can go astray. But if your marketing is such, that's one way. But Trader Joe's does market themselves as saying we do not have GMOs in our Trader Joe branded products. They may have some in the store because they carry other brands, but as far as the Trader Joe brand. So I was able to make that slow transition it took me, like I say, probably after I got over the cost thing, probably about 6 months. And then once we started kind of completely shopping at Trader Joe's, we knocked out the grocery store. It really became kind of okay, now we're rolling with it. The next step, I think, what we're going to be attempting is how do we get into the school lunch and, our kids, desiring, all the different aspartame-based products like gum and pop and soda and all that kind of stuff. And we talked a little bit about that yesterday with Jill McGee. So all those things put together it really is not a cut and dried, I'm sure there's some that can go cold turkey, but you probably have mutiny on your hands. So we have slowly moved across. We eat a lot of the same stuff that we ate before, but it now is just Trader Joe branded or organic branded rather than the brands that are at the regular grocery store. So these are a couple places that I recommend. Trader Joe's they have sort of tested the time. If you go out and research on the internet, they have had people challenge them on the GMO piece, and they've always stood up to it and have not been caught lying or anything like that. So I feel relatively confident in that. We also, like EnerHealth Botanicals is another great brand that we carry, and that's the things I did. You just slowly start to find where you move ahead, where you kind of fall back, where you move ahead, where you fall back, and that's where I think you kind of find a medium where I think in today's times, I don't see how a family of 5 could 100% be organic GMO free. I mean, yes, can I see it? But you'd have to have such a strict control that I don't know if you want to do that to your family. I mean, if they would like a sucker once in a while, are you going to tell them that they can't have the sucker? I just can't do it as a dad. So there are some things in life where you just leave well enough alone, I guess, and if they're generally eating 90% right and they have a sucker once in a while, hey, that's good enough. Even, I come to think of it, even because I've read a lot on the paleo diet, they go a lot into the water running through the pipes and picking up trace minerals, and they actually also believe in the 80-20 law, where 80% of the time you follow the diet, 20% you just is close enough, and you have fun. If you're over at somebody's house, you're not going to sit there and say, well, is this GMO free, and make them feel bad. So that's the part that I think that you have to kind of realize, that this you want to be hard on the rules, so to speak, hard on this to say I want to just give my family the absolute best. But you do have to have the little bit of realism, and you have to kind of feather that in a little bit. And I'll give you another example. It was kind of funny because I listened to it, probably, a year and a half ago. And I kind of laughed at the time. But somebody had asked, they had called in, and they said, well, what do you think about deodorant? And it was kind of funny at the time because I didn't really understand why you would be concerned about such things. And the guys kind of laughed and they chuckled and they said, well, that's all cool, but we would rather you wear deodorant. And the interesting part of it is about 2 months ago, I decided I needed the organic or natural deodorant. Well, I proceeded to stink pretty badly, and my daughter mentioned it, and my wife mentioned it. So I think there does come a point in time where, sure, would it be nice to have a deodorant that didn't have the aluminum and the different sulfate pieces in there, but I would rather smell good too, so that when I walked up to my wife and she wanted to hug, she actually wanted to hug me. So there is some balance, I guess, when you get down to it, on what direction you go, what things happening. So with that, remember, a dose of realism, try to do it 80% of the time, and rock and roll with life. Have a good time. So we're going to go to a quick break and come back to you on the other side to talk a little bit more nutrition. We'll probably be shutting down the show a little bit early today because of the weather in Minnesota. So talk to you on the other side. 5-Star Basketball, the leader in basketball instruction and camps. Endorsed by Michael Jordan, Dick Vitale, and Hubie Brown, and where the teaching never stops. 5-Star Basketball Minnesota will be hosting a one-day instructional camp on May 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will be hosted by 5-Star, the McCarthy Project, and Grassroots Hoops. For more information on the camp, visit themccarthyproject.com/5-star. XL Athlete is the leading provider of online strength and conditioning and speed development camps. For more information on their training programs and speed development camps, visit xlathlete.com. We are excited to offer the following products on the McCarthyStore.com. Innovate Running Shoes, the leader in barefoot and natural running technology. We carry the full line of sizes and colors. Berkey Water Filters, the leader in anti-gravity water filtration. For more information, visit themccarthyproject.com or go directly to the McCarthy Project store website. That's www.themccarthyprojectstore.com. Well, good morning, everybody. It is not morning. It is afternoon. So you got to love bloopers. So anyways, this is Stephen McCarthy from the McCarthy Project, just coming live to you from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I just got word that Ryan St. George will not be able to make it today. So with that, we are going to close the show for today. I know it's a little bit shortened version, but just due to the weather, we are going to call it the day. So we will try to get Ryan on for tomorrow. Hopefully that works into his schedule. to talk about the clean dozen and the dirty dozen as far as foods are concerned. So from that standpoint, if you would like more information on the McCarthy Project, visit our website at themccarthyproject.com. That's all spelled out. Thank you all for listening. I want to thank you all for making this program a success. Thank you all for your kind comments. We're starting to really gain some traction, and I really do thank you for all the comments and the encouragement. It really has been quite a fun ride, so we're looking forward to the next couple months. With that said, signing off for today. Have a great night, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Five Star Basketball, the leader in basketball instruction and camps. Endorsed by Michael Jordan, Dick Vitale, and Hubie Brown, and where the teaching never stops. 5 Star Basketball Minnesota will be hosting a one-day instructional camp on May 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and will be hosted by 5 Star, the McCarthy Project, and Grassroots Hoops. For more information on the camp, visit themccarthyproject.com/5-star. XL Athlete is the leading provider of online strength and conditioning and speed development camps. For more information on their training programs and speed development camps, visit xlathlete.com.